Hello everyone, this is Lolly and you are watching Arx Fatalis Hacktoberfest 2024, the show where I'm trying to do something cool for Arx Fatalis throughout the whole month of October. This is day 25, and after spending quite a few days being occupied with work in real life, I'm finally back to doing some crazy stuff like this work in progress map that you see in front of you. And this contains quite a few different sized goblins, and the goal is to pick them all up. The smaller ones can be absorbed by the player, but the bigger ones will not move, and you constantly grow by eating smaller goblins, and hopefully you will get enough goblin consumption to grow yourself into a big, healthy player that can consume every goblin. And also don't worry about being stuck with all of these large goblins, because for the ones that are too large you can just pass through them. So this is a little experimentation on collision handling, and I have to say that this scripting was so bloody painful to do. If any of you guys are on Discord, then you probably saw my continuous ranting on this. But let's just roam around a bit and see if I can grow substantially enough to consume as many goblins as possible. I was aiming to do something similar to what you do in Agar.io, or if you guys are familiar with the Japanese game Katamari, then this will be familiar to you. And the growth rate in the beginning is fairly slow. You can barely notice that you are growing, but indeed the player have grown and I can consume larger goblins now. Just check out how little that goblin over here is. Yum. Ooh, I left quite a few of them here. Don't mind if I pick them up. And now I can pick up even those larger ones. I want to introduce some time limit so that there would be some time pressure for the player to pick up all the goblins before a given timer finishes up, but I have to come up with a solution for that, because you cannot place anything with scripts on the HUD. We can maybe display text similarly to what the tutorial message is like when you start a new game, but it's not going to be sufficient in this case. And I also have to tweak the distribution of the different sizes for the goblins, because I'm always stressed that it is not guaranteed that you can consume every goblin. And as you can see, I will probably pick this guy up. No, we are left with these three guys, so I have to tweak this, but at least the concept is, in my opinion, interesting. You can grab the map from this GitHub page, and it is, as I mentioned, the work in progress map. You can go to the releases, grab the version 1.0.0 and grab the zip, extract it in your Arx Libertatis installation directory, and I have to mention that I don't know if this will work in Arx Libertatis 1.2 or older versions. It works for me in 1.3, but if anyone can test it, then I will be happy to get that info and update the README accordingly. Also, if you guys are not familiar with Katamari Damacy, then you should definitely try it out. You start with this little alien-type creature called the Prince. You can see him on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and you roll a sticky ball all around the map, and you can roll up small stuff, like as you can see on the image, the player rolled up a few pennies or cents or whatever coins are, and then later on in the game you will be a bit bigger, and then you roll up trees, houses, house blocks, and later even whole islands. So it's an interesting, fun game, and partially it could be reproduced in Arx, as you can see. Well, the physics are not as interesting as in Katamari. You are not rolling a ball in Arx, you are just running around, but let's see if I can tweak stuff to make it closer to this game. Also, another mod that is work in progress and I have for you all is this empty mana bar damage mod. It is going to be a challenge mod similarly to the rune randomizer mod, and let me show you guys how that works. Basically, it is going to damage the player constantly as long as the mana bar of the player is empty. Let me load up a save file, and I'm gonna quickly drain my mana bar using the fire field spell, and you guys will understand what I mean. No more mana. And it's going to be very challenging later on if you are in a fight situation. For example, if you are getting constantly hit by enemies, then taking more hits by not having enough mana will be very interesting. Well, now, I don't know how I died. Was it because I lost all my mana, or did I got struck by that Goblin Lord's sword? Sadly, this mod will only work in Arx Fatalis 1.3 or later versions, if there will be any in the future, because interestingly, Arcane decided to give us the variables to query the player's life with this player life and player max life, but since they never had the idea to make a puzzle or any logic around the player's mana bar, they didn't expose any variables for us to query that, and so player mana and player max mana was added in Arx Fatalis 1.3, so it will not work in older versions. And if anyone is wondering how the code works for it, it's this few lines of code here. Here I'm using this on main event, and if the player max mana is 0, then I'm fairly sure that we are not using Arx Fatalis 1.3. So we are just short-circuiting here and exiting. Otherwise, we are checking if the player mana is below 1.0, because we are working with floating point numbers, and I added a note here that we truly cannot reach the 0.0 mana value because it will be always a bit more, but it's good enough if we are below 1, and then I'm doing 10% of health damage to the player, and this code runs, I think, once every second. So try these mods out, link to them will be in the description, but other than that, I'm off for today, and I will see you all in the next episode of Hacktoberfest, or Cursed Thursday. See you all, bye!